other innovations do you think are needed in this field in order for it to remain competitive and financial savvy when dealing with these huge pension funds that so many of the retirees will be relying on?
I think that's a great question. You look at pension plans nowadays, and they were developed about 100 years ago, right? And a lot has changed in 100 years. For example, retirement age has been held around the same, around 65. But humans didn't live, on average, didn't live that long back then. So they'd be working these long careers, contributing into their plans, and then draw down their benefits for maybe 5-10 years, and then
that's it.
Life moved on, right? But nowadays, it's not uncommon for people to live to 100. So
I still find that amazing.
Right.
That's now the number they plug in for when you're going to retire, that you need to save this much money because you're going to live to be 100.
Exactly. And so you're going to be in retirement for 30, 40 years, based on some common retirement ages nowadays. So you work this career that you might be in retirement longer than you saved, the years that you saved money for. So, to answer your question about, what innovative things should be done, in my opinion, is that you need to kind of calibrate your retirement plans so that it mirrors life expectancy. To have that ratio before where you're working 30 years and then retire for 5 to 10 years, whereas now you're working 30, 40 years maybe, but then in retirement for 30, 40 years. The math doesn't quite work out. So I think some of the planned provisions in general, should be, pegged to maybe life expectancy so that you can have a more balanced reflection of what the demographics are. Another thing I think is the lifestyle has changed. Previously, decades ago, people worked for the same employer for many, many years.
Right.
Nowadays, it's more common to job hop. And so how do you do that when you have to worry about vesting in a retirement plan? You might have 5 years at this company and 5 years at that company where you never vest for your retirement benefits. So I think there are some plan provisions that should be thought through and changed so that it mirrors the current demographics and lifestyles of our generation more.
Now, do you think they'll change the retirement age for city workers and raise it up to, say, 70?
If you look at what has happened, so in New York City, the plan provisions are written into state statute. So anytime you want to change, the contribution rate or the retirement eligibility, it's done through a state statute legislative process. So through that, if you look at the historical context, the legislation has changed over time. And for those who are hired most recently, they do have to work a little longer in order to be...
So they're already implementing that.
They are, and it's more of a gradual change that I think should be revisited over time.